Good evening, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Good? Okay. Still, still afternoon. Okay, I'm sorry. Uh, so yeah, please give attention in our lecture today. Unless you use a phone device to keep record lecture note, do not open a device. You don't need. When you need it, I will tell you. Okay, so let us see our schedule today. So according to our schedule, to this week we will cover variable assignments and data type. So module 2. So if I go to our slides, in module 2 we have two slides, part 1 and part 2. So today we will hopefully complete part 1. Okay, and I already gave you a task to write a program, right? Hello Professor program. I did not ask to send me the link. Whoever sent, it's okay, thank you. Okay, but I asked everybody to do that at least. So how many of you have not done yet? You did not have a chance? Okay. You have to write a program, 1-line program or 2 lines program. Okay. Yeah, please do it. Do it tonight, okay? So let us go to our slide. So in this module we will discuss variable assignments and data type. Okay. So we are familiar with variable, like when we did some mathematical operation, like in algebra, we used x plus y equal to 10, right? So we used some values, for instance an expression, okay, for instance a very simple expression like x plus y equal to 10. In this case our y will be 10 minus x, right? So here if we draw a chart, like for instance like this, I'm sorry, for instance we have, if we say here x and y, if x equal to 0 then y equal to 10, right? If x equal to 10, y equal to 0, right? If x equal to 20, then y equal to negative 10, right? If x equal to negative 10, then y equal to what? 20, right? So here our x and y, these are called variable, right? And here the number 10 is called a constant, right? And this is plus operator and this is equal operator. So in combination of some variables and some operators, we form an expression. So everybody is familiar with this kind of expression, right? Everybody is familiar with, right? So here we say x as a variable, right? So even if we say, whenever we say y equal to 10 minus x, then x, we say sometimes say x is independent variable and y is dependent variable, right? So the value of y depends on the value of x. And you see on this chart, so whenever we change x value, then y value it changed, right? Y value changed, right? So in a particular x value there will be one or two y values. In this case it is since this is a linear expression, so for one x it will be one y. Okay, so this is variable concept in algebra or math that we are familiar with. For one thing we will extract from here, that a variable contains value that can vary, right? Here the values of x and y are changing over time, right? Whatever I'm thinking. So actually this will be an in a like this will be a line, for instance, maybe like this. Okay, so one thing we can extract from here, that a variable contains values that may be changed, that can change. Okay, so we will remember this concept, that we will extract this concept from math and we will utilize this concept in our programming. Okay, so in our programming concept, a variable is something different. It is a variable is a name of a memory location. Yes. It is not working. So in programming, okay, so a variable, we declare a variable to hold data, to assign, to store data or value. Okay, so actually when we declare a variable, so in order to declare a variable in most programming languages, like the languages we are discussing here, C++, C# and Java, we need data type, specific data type. What kind of data we will be storing in our variable? We need to assign that, we need to fix that ahead of time. Okay, so then when we can declare our variable, we can store data on it and we can do any kind of arithmetic or any kind of statistical operation on it. Okay, so for instance, why do we need to use a variable? So having the facility of variable, our lives become easier. So remember that we use our phone, right? In our phone system we have a contact list, right? We can save our friends and family names in our phone, right? Phone book, right? So we can use our friend's name in alphanumeric letter character, right? John Smith or John David or something, right? Okay, or Smith 1, Smith 2, something like this. So remember that how difficult it would be if we were not allowed to write our friends or contact list by alphanumeric letter. How many number, if we are not allowed to save a number by our friend's name, actual name, right? How difficult it would be. How could we save 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this way? It would be difficult. We forgot whoever whose number is 1, whose number is 2nd and 3rd. It would be difficult, right? And even if it did not allow us to write alphanumeric name, then if the system save the number as is, for instance 206,770, something like this, then still it will be difficult, right? We could not remember this number is for which friend. So, but now how our life is easy, right? When we can save our friends or family name by their actual name, right? Okay. Now think another situation. Whenever we make a phone call, so just I go to my what is called contact list and search for my friend name and make a phone call. So when you make a phone call, where actually the phone called goes. It goes actually the number, right? The number is set associate under it, right? Associated, right? Even when we send a text message, that the message goes to a number, not the actual name, right? Okay. Another thing that, so this is an advantage. Another advantage is that I have my phone when I have a friend John. You may have a friend John, right? In your phone, right? But is it required that your John and my John should have same name, same number? No, right? Your John have your friend same name, my friend has same name, but we can have different name, right? So that means the variables work independently. Okay, so variable actually is an association with the memory location where we save this value. Okay. Another instance is that in our like physical, in our location or community, there are some, for every house, right, there is a house number, right? 101, 105, 107, 1011, something, right? Okay, and some houses may have a name. Okay, for instance, Smith house, John's house, right? So if the name is popular, then people may know that house by two ways. People may know that house by its actual physical address or by its name, right? For instance, if you do Google search, if you say go to White House, right? Google Map will get it, right? Maybe 1800 or something, Pennsylvania Boulevard or right, in Washington DC, or another way, if we give the physical address of White House, it will get it. Okay, so for our human being, it is easy for us to remember something with actual name other than actual number, but in computer system can do both way. Okay, can I do it?
No, I don't think it's going to work. I think they're still working on this room because they were having issues earlier today.
Okay, so I have another lecture tonight, even back to back. If you can, then please let me know.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't
there
think
is a
we'll
way.
get it up tonight. I think it's going to be either Friday or next class.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you,
I
though.
apologize for that.
Okay. So now we got some advantages of using variable. We know some advantages of using variable, right? So actually what happens when we declare a variable? What happens when you declare a variable? We know the computer system has memory, right? There are two different kinds of memory. One is primary memory, another is secondary memory. Primary memory is hard drive. Okay. Sorry, primary memory is called RAM and ROM, read-only memory. We cannot see those actually. Those are chip integrated with our motherboard chip, okay, device. But we see the secondary memory, flash drive, CD drive, hard drive. Okay, so when we declare a variable, so for instance RAM, it takes memory space. One is called RAM. Random access memory. Okay, so a memory has like this kind of space. So a memory has a lot of space like this. Okay, this kind of, so each of these space is internally divided into 8 bit. Okay, 8 bits. So why this 8 bit is called 1 byte equal to 8 bit. Okay, and then 2 byte equal to 16 bits. Okay, so when we declare, like for instance, every and computer has all memory cells, like they are divided into this kind of space, independent space, and each of these cell has a unique address. For instance, this one has very long address, but for instance 1, maybe this one has 2, this one has 3, this one has 4, this one has 5, and this one has 6, and like this. Okay, so when we declare a variable, for instance, if we say int x, we say int is a data type, we will discuss this soon. We say int x, then computer reserves 4 consecutive memory bytes. 4 consecutive memory bytes, and whatever we said, give the name of this variable. Okay, the first byte is given name x. The first byte is given a name x, and it has already its address, and it has another name. So then as a human being, when we program, is it easy for us to locate these 4 consecutive bytes by its name x, variable x. Okay, but for computer it is easy for a device to locate this 4 consecutive bytes by its memory address. But we communicate as a human, we do interaction between human and machine, okay, by declaring the variable. Then whenever we say x equal to 5, then what happens, the 5 is internally converted into binary number. For instance, 5 is converted into binary numbers 101, and then all other this is the lowest byte, and all other bytes, all other bits are filled with 0, all are 0. So like for instance, then everything will be 0 like 0. Okay, so then what happens, so declaring a variable is a connection between human and machine interaction. Okay, so you will see, you may be familiar with int x. That means x is a here variable and int is a data type. So in most programming languages, the languages we are discussing here, C++, C# and Java, these languages require to declare the data type first before we declare a variable. Some languages like Python does not require to use data type. Okay, so one thing that we understand, we remember that when we declare a variable, that it takes a memory location. Okay, so then how long the memory location is needed, that depends on our data type. Okay, but I am telling that it takes some memory locations and give a name of that location. For instance, if you have a house, if you live a house, you can give a name of that your house. Okay, even if you have in your house, there are some rooms, right? You can give rooms number 1, 2, 3, 4. There, if there are 4 bedrooms, you can say bedroom 1, bedroom 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, right? Or you can give another name, like for instance, queen, king. Okay, brother, sister, any name you can give, whatever you like, right? Okay, so that what is the advantage of having int x? If say x equal to 5, then will happen, then later whenever we say x equal to x plus 2, then what will happen, wherever x takes place, I don't need to know, but whenever I do any kind of update on x, that update will be done automatically when your program runs. So I don't need to care about that, where is my value is saving. Okay, So there are many advantages of using variables. So there are many talk. I'm not discussing in detail. Okay, so one thing that remember that every memory location, however, if you have megabyte or gigabyte or terabyte memory location in your device, RAM, okay, random access memory. Okay, so every memory location, even its hard drive or floppy drive, has a unique address. And in addition to unique address, sometimes we give a name of that address that we call variable. We give this name in order to store our value. So since by default these variables take place in the primary memory, random access memory. So when you turn off your program or you shut down your computer, that memory becomes empty. So but if you want to save your value permanently, then you use secondary device like floppy drive, we used long time ago, that flash drive, CD drive or hard drive in a file, there are say permanent memory. Okay. So whenever we say variable, they remember that a variable is a name of a memory location. Okay, and this in another way we can give another example in your real life. For instance, parking place. So everywhere in this maybe there is a parking place nearby, right? In some parking places have a number, designated number, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, like this, right? Like this. Okay, so think about that. If a parking lot is used to park any kind of vehicle, for instance a private small car or a heavy 18-wheeler truck. So parking a small car will take small place, right? One parking place, right? But if someone wants to park a heavy truck, trailer, right? It may take very large space, right? Maybe 4 times of a regular car, right? You remember that? So it depends on, sometimes depends. So if my value or variable is very large or very small, then it may take large space. Okay, very small, I mean by very small, very large, I say we can write how to very large, but very small maybe 0.000000000 something 1 is very small number, right? But we have to there are maybe 20 zeros before 1. So very small number, it will take very even large space. Maybe if you want to park a trailer, large trailer, it will take same space if it is an empty trailer or it is a full loaded trailer, it will take same space for parking area, right? Okay. So based on our value, okay, so there are some built-in types in our computer system. We do not need to think about that much for now. Okay, so there are some built-in or primitive data types. Okay, there are 4 of them. First of this is called byte, and then short, second one is short, then int, and then long. Okay, all lowercase letter. Okay, so these 4 are the siblings or one group for holding whole numbers, integer numbers, integer used for holding integer numbers, whole numbers without any decimal point. Okay, So if your number is very short enough that will take only one memory byte, then we say byte type that takes only one byte, one memory byte space. And if your data is bigger than that, then it may take 2 bytes. It may take 2 bytes. This may take 2 bytes. And if it is larger than that, then it can take 4 bytes. And if it is very large, then it will take 8 bytes. Okay. These are for holding integer whole numbers only. Okay. But there are two other built-in types. If you want to hold a number with a decimal point, then we have two types. That one is called is float, another called is double. So here, how many bytes it takes for a byte type? 1. For a short type, it takes 2 bytes, 2 consecutive bytes. Okay, and it is integer type, it takes 4 consecutive bytes, and it is long, then it takes 8 consecutive bytes. But for the float decimal point, decimal numbers with decimal point, if it is float type, then it takes 4 consecutive bytes, and if it is double, then it takes 8 consecutive bytes. So then how many we got? 4 plus 2, 6, right? Okay, there is another type that is called Boolean. In some languages it's called bool, and some languages is called Boolean. Okay, that takes only 1 byte. Sorry, only 1 bit. Only 1 bit. To hold either true or false, either 0 or 1. Okay. You know that for electronic devices, all electronic devices run under electric power, right? Then that means electric switch. A electric switch has only 2 states, either off or 1. So here we have switches, right? You have just only either off or 1, right? So whenever it's on, we say 1. And whenever it's off, we say OFF, of 0. So Boolean takes either 0, it takes usually 1 bit, is fine, to hold either 0 or 1. So if it is 0, then we say false. And it is 1, then we say true. Okay, then we got 6, 7 type. Okay, in some languages there is another type that is called character type, CHAR. But some languages do not have character type, like Python does not have character type. We are not discussing Python. Okay, so these are the 8 primitive data types. How many we got here? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, Boolean, character, right? These are the 8 primitive data types, that is built-in data types. Okay, so we use a character type in order to use only one single character. In order to hold only one single, like A is a single character, B is another single character, number 1 is a single character, number 10 has 2 characters, 1 and 0, right? If you want to type in number 15, then it takes how many characters? 2 consecutive characters. Okay. Okay. Okay, so sometime in addition to these types, sometimes we use another types that is well known, that is called string, a combination of characters, like when you write our name or address, okay, or any expression, we want to express something verbally, then if you want to write in text, then this is called string type. But string is not a primitive data type. In most of the languages, it is going to be a built-in data type, but it's not a primitive data type. So whatever one thing, remember that if its data type is byte, then it will take 1 byte. If it is short, it will take 2 bytes. If it is integer, then it is 4 bytes. If it is long, then it will take 8 bytes. Float, it will take 4 consecutive bytes, and then double it will take 8 consecutive bytes. Boolean, it takes maybe one, you can say 1 bit or 1 byte, but it holds only true or false value. And character, it takes, actually character it takes depends on, sometimes 1 byte, 2 bytes, maybe 4 bytes. So in Unicode system it takes a long time. Okay, so if we do a Google search like data type range in C++ or Java or what language you want to know. So if we say that the first one, you can say a byte, it takes 1 byte, and this is the range. If you declare a variable of byte type, then the lowest, the minimum value you can hold here, stored here, is negative 128, and then the maximum value you can hold here is 127. But if your data is 128, you cannot use byte type. Or your value is 130, then you cannot use byte type. It will exceed the range. Okay, so in order to hold that kind of data, then you can use short type that takes 2 consecutive bytes, that is range negative 3 to 768 to positive 3 to 767. Okay, and if it is integer type, then it takes 4 consecutive bytes. This is the range 2 million. Is very long, right? And even this, if it takes long type, that is very large. You see that lowest range is that sorry, and the highest range is that. For instance, if we want to hold data, how many miles or centimeter a light ray goes in 10 or 100 light years, very, very far distance, right? In that case, we use long data type. But so if you use long data type, then you will be using occupying more value, more memory space. But even your data, so here, does it contain 0? It has 0, right? 0 is included, right? So if you have a value 1 or 10, only 10, so then for small value, even you can use either or any kind of this 4 data type, right? It will work. 0, 10 is including here, included here, included here, included here. So actually these data types, these are actually like this, overlapping. For instance, we say, if we draw something like this. Okay, so for instance, this is 1 byte. 1 byte equal to how many bits? 8 bits, right? So we have 8 here. Like for everything we have, I'm not drawing correctly, sorry. So here this is byte type. Okay, working only a byte type is only up to here. And if you say short type, then starting from here to this until this. Until this. Okay, 2 consecutive bytes. Okay, and if you say integer type, then it will be, so from here to here will be integer type. And then if you say long type, then it will be 8 byte. So starting from there are some overlapping space. Okay, but so in order to declare a variable, we should be care about our data type. Otherwise there will be misuse of memory location. For instance, if you want to stay in a hotel room, how many rooms you will be booking? If you want to stay in a hotel room one night, how many rooms you will be booking?
How many rooms?
Yes.
One.
Okay, usually one, right? For one person, right? But maybe if you have an abundance of money, will you book 4 rooms? You can book 4 rooms, but you cannot stay in 4 rooms in one night, right? You will be misusing 3 other rooms, right? you will be misusing either your money or someone else's money, or even it is free, then maybe other people will not get to know. So when we use our variable, we should be careful about our data type. Especially when we use variable for holding very large amount of data, database, for instance. For instance, census is coming, right? Census 2020 is coming, right? Census. They will, all people in the USA will be counted. Okay. So you see that there are about how many millions? 320 millions population, right? Total. Okay. So if you, in this case, the developer needs to be careful to declare a variable, right? For instance, everyone, if in order to save a gender, either male or female, right? It takes one. If it takes 1 byte, if 1 byte works, then they should not use 8 bytes. The system will be slower. But for our program, small program, what we will be discussing in our program, or you will see in the book, most of the time people will say that they are using integer type. It's common type integer. It takes only 4, although it takes 4 memory bytes. We don't care about even because we have a huge memory location. We don't care for short program. Okay, but when we declare our database or something, we need to be careful about our data type. Okay. Okay, so where we are going? So if we go maybe data type range, for instance, we see image, then do you see this screen? Okay, so these are actually the classification. Data types is called primitive data types. They're called numeric, non-numeric. Numerics, there's 2 types, integer and floating, or decimal actually. Integer, byte takes 1 byte, short takes 2 bytes, integer takes 4 byte, long takes 8 byte, float takes 4 byte, double takes 8 byte, character takes 2 byte, and boolean takes 1 byte, although it holds only one value, 0 or 1 value. Okay, so and if we go to this chart, we will see that it has range. How many the max, this is the lowest value we can keep, and this is the highest value we can hold. Okay, for float and double, you see the very large number with exponential format. Anyone has that question? Okay. We will see that we will declare variable in our program. So for instance, so here this is called comment statement. I will go here. So let us go to our last program. Whenever we did whatever we did in our last lecture. Can you remember anybody that what we did? We said hello world. Okay, so here is our first program we discussed in our last lecture. Yes, you have a question?
You were asking, and I was like, well, it was hello professor, right?
Yeah.
And introduce ourselves.
No, I just asked you to practice the program. Okay, so in this program we use some data, but we did not use any variable yet. Okay, so because in order to declare a variable, for instance, we can use this data, we can assign this data with a variable or with some variable. For instance, instead of writing, for instance, here this is a string, another type variable that we will use frequently. So whenever you see something enclosed with double quotation, that is a string. Remember that? Whenever you see something enclosed with double quote, okay, that is called a string. Here the entire thing that is a string. Okay, So you say hello. If I say hello, if I say string hello equal to this, it will do same thing. Whatever we made change, careful look at it here. We say instead of writing our entire string or our data, here we wrote string, we declared a variable named hello, that's type is string, and then we assign its value. This is called equal is called assignment operator. Use this hello world, and whenever we instead of printing this, we are printing just hello. So that what will happen, it will be printing the value of hello. What is the value of hello here? What is the value of here is hello world, right? So if we run this program, it will give us same.
So instead, all you did was put it as a variable.
Yes, it will give us same output, but internally it is using a variable. We do not see where this variable is taking place. In this short program we cannot see, but we can see. If we need it, then we can see where it is taking value. But for our normal program at this point, it is not your headache to know where this value is taking place. Sometimes when we some places we park our car, it's called what is that called? It's called special parking survey. What is called that one? Valet parking, right? Valet parking?
Handicap.
Handicap parking?
No, valet
Parking?
parking.
Valet parking.
Valet parking, right? Valet parking, right? So you go there and you give your key, and they give you a token. And at the time when you come out, then you just give them token, and they give your car back, right? It is not your headache where the car is parked, right? You are tension free, right? Similarly, like kind of variable. So whenever we are declaring a variable, this variable we are giving values to this variable, and computer program is internally saving it somewhere. It is not our headache, right? Where it is saved. Whenever I need it, I am calling it this by this token. Right.
Also, because like if you have a variable in multiple spots in the code, then if you just want to change what the variable states, instead of saying hello world, you just want to say hello country or whatever, you can just change that, and it'll change it wherever you have that variable, will change that.
Yes, there are a lot of advantages. Okay, so if I say instead of typing like this, if I say hello world multiple times, then it will be printing. So we will declare our variable one time, but we can use as many times as we need it. Okay. So what is the type of this variable over here? It's called string type. Okay. So there are other types there are 8 primitive data types we just discussed. What are those? Name one of these.
The 8 data types.
Okay. Yes.
There's byte.
The very common was int. So int x equal to, if you say to 1321. Okay. For instance, this is my x is the name of my variable over here, right? So we can give any name of our variable, but not any name. Okay, you see that my tone? Did you notice my tone? I can give any name of a variable, but not any name. So whenever we have a baby, we can give any name, right? But not any name. There are some restrictions based on religion, culture, right? In one culture we can give a name, in another culture it is totally bad name, right? In one culture it is good name, or in one religion it is good name, in another religion it is very bad name, right? So same thing, whenever we declare give our name of a variable, we should give a meaningful name and give a good name. Okay, so for instance, I want to use this x as my course number, 1321. So for instance here, if I run this program, it will give me same name and same output. It will see that it will give me CSE, and then after is coming 1321. So this is called, this plus operator is over here, is called concatenation, string concatenation. Whenever this plus operator has a huge advantage in modern programming languages, it is concatenating or combining multiple strings over here. So this, if the first one is a string and then second one is a number, then everything becomes a string. So here you see the 1321 is coming over here x, but if I say x, it is not meaningful, right? So instead of x, if we say course number, then maybe meaningful, right? Then it's better, it sounds better, and then it's meaningful. Then it will give us same output, it will do same thing, but now this time this variable name is more better than the previous name x. So whenever we give our name, variable name, we should give a meaningful name and that is related to our purpose. Okay, we can give any name, for instance, but we follow that from some naming convention, right? For a boy baby, we give a boy name. For a baby girl, we give a girl name, right? But maybe it is not too much restricted if we have a boy baby and we give a girl name. People, this will weird. In general, we do not do it, right? Okay. So we need to be careful about this. Okay, and sometime, for instance, you see that in our program, if we want to hide something or disable some statement, then we use 2 forward slashes. So just to disable this line, that compiler will ignore this line when it compiles. And then if we have multiple, more than one lines, then we start with a slash and then star, and we end with another star and slash, and everything in between will be we say commented out, or you see that different color, that means this will not be executed while running this program. So these are the notations, 2 notations. This is called single notation, single line comment, and this is called multiple line comments. Okay, these are very simple. I believe everybody will be familiar with this. And then identifier. Identifier is a name of a variable or anything. Okay, so one thing, remember, one thing that I just told you, that a name of a variable, that is called identifier. In general, variables or string, whatever we give a name, that is called identifier, that identifies something. We should give a meaningful name. There are some restrictions of variable name. That for one thing is that you cannot start with a letter, with a number. You must start with a letter. You cannot start with a numeric digit or number. Okay, and there are some other restrictions, that there are some keywords. Okay, while we write our program, there are some keywords that most programming languages use. These are the keywords. One thing, that almost all keywords are written in lowercase number. Okay, so we should not give same name of our variable or our identifier. These are called keywords, like this keywords name. So by the time we go, you will be familiar with more keywords. So far you are familiar with a few keywords like byte, right? We discuss byte, and we discuss int, short, long, public, is a public, then we say static, and then somewhere we discuss we have void in this our program. So these are the public, static, void, int, byte, short. These are the keywords. You cannot give a name of your variable by this keyword. Okay, although some people give uppercase letter for their variable name, but I personally disagree. Not discouraged. Do not give, you can give a variable name as b is in uppercase boolean, that will work, but please do not use that. You have a lot of names, any name you can give. Okay, so these are the C# keywords and C++ keyword. There are some common keywords in language to language, but there are some different. You will be familiar with this keyword. So, and white spaces means some in some this is the white space. Okay, so in our program, if you give some white space in some most of the position, it will not be an issue, but in some places it will be issue. So for instance, if we say hello and give a name space over here, you can you see from the back? If you say hello and then h and then space, it will not take. An identifier must have a single name. If you want to give multiple word, so the multiple word, then we can use underscore. You cannot use dash. Dash is used as minus as well as, so you cannot use. So one thing, remember that whatever this identifier name you give, you have to use exactly same name, exactly call name. Okay, most of in our case, the three languages we are discussing are case sensitive. So if you give a value variable name, h is in uppercase, that's good, but you have to call that by uppercase, exactly case sensitive. Okay, and character type when we enclose everything by double quote. Okay, whenever you see that single quote, that is a called character type. Only one character we can enclose within our single quote. So far we are familiar with our system.out.println, this println method, right? At this point you may not be familiar with what is called system is a class, out is an object, and println is a method. You will know that later. But for instance, this is a string you are familiar with, right? So system represents the operating system, out is a console screen data stream is an object, and println is a method. For instance, just remember this, that's it. And write same thing, console. In C# we use console, and in C++ we use cout, right? We are familiar with this. Okay, so plus is a operator. Plus operator has, like in modern programming languages, plus operator has extended capacity. Normally we know that we use plus in algebra just to add two numeric numbers, right? But here in programming languages, most of the programming languages, we can use plus operator for concatenating or combining two string, or a string with another number, or a number with a string. But remember that one thing, maybe whenever you have something that start with a string, and if then later if it use plus sign, then the entire result will be a string. So this is the pseudocode that, for instance, here you see that s1 is a variable over here, and then this back arrow in pseudocode we means this is assignment operator. We are giving value to s1 equal to 3, and giving s2 equal to 2, and s3 equal to 1, s4 equal to 0. Then if we combine this s1 plus s2 plus s3, then it will go s1 equal to 3, then it will give 3 dot dot dot, then plus s1 equal to 2 dot dot dot, something like it will give us output like this. Okay, so everybody please be ready. So we are familiar with this, we discussed this in our previous program. There are some characters called characters, this is called escape sequence character. For instance, the backslash itself, okay, that are used in with another backslash, that is called backslash operator. For instance, here you see that if we write over here, if we give only one backslash, it will not be printing. In our output, we will not be able to see any effect of this backslash. So you see that I wrote here hello world, right? but I do not have any. Oh, sorry, I have T over here. So this T. Actually, in order to do a print a backslash, we need two backslashes. So this is the leading backslash. It will help to print this backslash. This does need to support. Sometimes we have, if for instance, if we want to print hello in double quote, within double quote. So here you see that we put this value within double quote, but double quote was not printed out, right?
They need to put backslash.
Yes. So in this case, I need, for instance, here if I say welcome, for instance here, anywhere say welcome. If I want to say welcome, then I need to give another backslash and then double quote. Otherwise, if we do not give this backslash, then compiler will consider this as an ending point of string, right? But we are not ending the string, so we need another backslash. And then if we say like this, so then it will print welcome within double quote. It will come up welcome within double quote. Okay, so these are called backslash characters. Sometimes if you want to backslash T is to make a tab. Okay, so there are some backslash characters, for instance backslash B, backslash N for making new line. We used this in our last program. Okay, so this is a Java program. For instance, if we have some backslashes N, backslash T, then we will get our output in different format, right? Okay, in your test you might be given a statement like this with some backslash N, some backslash T, some backslash B or something, and you will be asked to write output. Okay, so for instance, we have given the string like this in raw format, right? But we are getting output in a different format. So if you are given a one statement on one line, but output may be multiple lines, right? So please practice this. You may get a question that you will be given a statement and then you will be asked what will be the output. You have to write exactly. If you do some practice, you will be able to do. This is not a rocket science yet. It's doable. Okay, do some practice, make some changes and do some mistake, then you will learn something. Okay, same program in C# and same program in C++ format. So please everybody practice this. So we discuss variables. Okay, so here we have keys is an integer type variable, right? That has value 88, and if we say a piano has keys, right? Here you see the keys is a variable, but this keys is a string. How do I know this is a string? It is enclosed within a double quote, right? So whenever we put something within a double quote, exactly that will be printed as. Then there is not a variable. A variable name cannot be enclosed with a double quote. Remember that. Okay, naming convention, we discuss about naming convention, and we use equal sign as an operator, assignment operator. So 55 will be assigned to total value will be 55. So whenever our one thing, remember that our variable, any variable can contain only one value, and the latest value you give it, it will hold that value. It will not remember previous value. Okay, if you want to remember the previous value, you need to store it in a data file. So by the end of not in this course, in another course you will learn how to save our data in a data file. But if you have some programming experience, if you do Google search, you can know now how to save something in a data file. So this is our program. Okay, so I like everybody, so write down please. I like everybody to just copy this program and practice it. if you are new. Okay, so just copy this program, this code, and then paste it in your program file and run it and try to understand what is happening. Make some changes in your code. Okay, then do some changes, and I'm giving you a homework. Okay, so another thing is constant. Sometimes constant, whenever we use some values in our program that we do not change over the time. For instance, the value of pi equal to 3.14 something, right? And sometimes we use e, Euler e, right? E equal to, anyone knows what is the value of e? Yeah, no, e equal to 2.71 something. You don't need to remember it, okay? But remember that pi equal to 3.14, right? Something. So whenever we declare a variable more likely as a variable. We declare a constant, that is called constant, that we do not change its value during program time. We cannot change this value during program execution time. That we call constant. One naming convention is that we give all uppercase letter for a name, or we name a constant. So people know that this is a constant. For instance, in your program, we will say that in Java format we use final and the letter type. So then that is a constant tax rate. So during your program execution time, it cannot be updated. Okay, so in Java, the constant declaration format is using final keyword, final, double is data type, and C++ and C#, we use, this is our constant, const is a keyword. Okay, and we use this. Okay, so although we say 5% interest, right, we cannot use percentage sign, dollar sign, okay, while we give a value. And in C++, we use define keyword, define, then tax rate. We do not use equal sign over here. So C++ people, so give attention over here. This statement is different than other statements. The other statements have equal sign, right? Other languages have equal sign, but in C++ we do not have equal sign over here. How many of you are taking C++ lab? Okay, a lot. So please give attention over here. We do not have an equal sign over here. In order to declare a constant, we do not use, we use define, but we do not use equal sign. Okay, we discussed data types. We discussed, these are the 8 primitive data types. I already discussed this. Okay, so how many types are? We discussed 8 primitive data types, right? Okay, there are other some type. One type is called string type, that is a built-in data type, but not a primitive data type. And in addition to this, at the end of this course, you will learn that we will be able to declare our own data type, that is called a class. That is called object-oriented programming. If you take our 1322 course, next course you will learn object-oriented programming. That is the foundation. Class is the foundation of object-oriented programming. By declaring a class, we declare our own type by combining as a combination of one or more existing or custom types. I need a few more minutes. I'm almost done. Okay, so static versus dynamic type. There are some languages that do not require to declare a variable type when you program. For instance, Python. So here in our Java program or C++ or C# program, we must use this type. For instance, integer, we must use int. If you say course number, it will not understand what is course number, what is this. Compiler will not understand. Okay, this program will not run. But in Python it will work. So Python, what it does, it detects the type automatically. The first time whatever value you assign, it will look, oh, this is an integer type. So it will assign an integer type over it automatically. So but the languages we are learning in this course, C++, C# and Java, require type, explicit type. So these are called static type checking, okay, languages. C++, C# and Java are static type language, okay. You must use data type. Okay, so we discussed this data type. So in order to put, if we declare an integer type variable, we must be careful. We can give only integer value. For instance, if we get 100.50, so that since the type is integer, the point of the value after the decimal point will not be saved. The problem is that whatever value you give, it will save only 100. It will not save, because it will not save 0.50 because the type is integer, right? Okay, again two things. Another thing is that you need to remember, for instance, here is byte type, right? What is the range of byte type? Can anyone remember that I opened a chart? Byte type has negative number 120, negative 128, and maximum 127. So if you put 190, will be a program working? Your program will not work because it will be overflow. It has capacity 127, right? It has maximum capacity 127, but you are giving 100. If you give even 128, it will not be able to save that value. So you have to be careful when you give your value. It should be within your data type. Okay, for long, usually there is convention. Okay, for some languages like C# and Java, give attention please, 2 more minutes. Here we will use L. After L, after the value we use L for long type, and for float we use F. So be careful about, note that the F, ending F. Okay, for C# and Java, when you give a value for float type, then we need to give an F, either in uppercase F or lowercase f. That means it will, otherwise it will so but for double we do not need to give D. Yes.
So you always have to put the F at the end?
Yeah, F on the end if your type is float. Okay. Okay, so if is my rate is something like this, can I use $sign at the end? Can I use?
Sure.
No.
It won't work.
I cannot use $sign at the end or at the beginning. It will not work. Okay, any sign, special sign will not, symbol will not work. Okay.
So you use character.
Character, if you use a character, then only remember about only single, for character type we can give only one character that is enclosed with single quote. But if you enclose this with double quote, then that will be a string. Okay, remember this thing. Okay, so when we use this we will discuss this. Okay, and if it is boolean, then either you can put false and or true. Okay, in Java we use boolean keyword, and in C# and C++ we use bool. Okay, people who are taking Java lab, okay, so we will use boolean whole, and then we do C++ and C#, we will use bool keyword. Okay, so boolean is take either true or false value, nothing else. And remember that T will be in lowercase and F will be in uppercase, but in some languages like Python allows T in uppercase. That is an exception. Okay, our last slide. That these are the things we discuss. We discuss variable. What is a variable? Is a name of a memory location, right? What happens when you declare a variable? It takes a memory location. Okay, it takes some memory space and it give a name that we gave at the first byte of that location. What are the advantages? There are many advantages of using variables, right? We can hold value in a variable in a memory space. Remember that a variable contains only one value, only the latest value, the updated value. It cannot remember the previous value. Okay, only it can store only one value. Okay. The old value will, whenever you give a value, the old value will be replaced by the new value. Okay. Okay, that's it. But I want to give a reminder. What is the homework I gave you today? Okay, so from the slide, just copy this program, copy this code, and write it, and make some changes, and try to understand that effect. That's it. And please practice this. And another thing, that this code. Okay, another homework is to this one. Write this line of code and try to understand the effect of \t and \. Slide number maybe 22. Slide number 22 and slide number 32. 22 and 32. Okay, you do not need to send me this your program code. Okay, just practice yourself. Okay.